Yo, YouTube, welcome back. It's your boy Penny the Dollar FX, and I'm back at you with another tutorial video. I understand my first video when it went out, there was no commentary, there was no narration, there was no audio. So I got a lot of comment, a lot of feedback on, just making sure that, if I'm sending out videos with information, making sure that I have some type of explanation along with the information that I'm sending out. So today's video is aimed to do exactly that. So often what I have, before I get started, I want to first say, if you find value in the video, obviously after the video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It would help me tremendously. You all know how the YouTube algorithm works. So please, again, please turn those notifications on so you stay alert and always up to date whenever I'm dropping content and material and videos like such. But again, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. All right, so without any further ado, with that out of the way, often what happens, I get a lot of questions often about where do you start if you're trying to trade or if you're just trying to learn how to trade. All right, I took an interest in trading just to actually, earn some passive income. And the very first place I would encourage anyone to start is with a trading software. All right, a trading software that enables you or allows you the opportunity to kind of just study the charts, trade, play with the charts, navigate the charts so that you understand what you're absolutely you're doing. So the very first thing I often encourage people to do is go to Tradingview. So simply put, we're going to go to Google. We're going to type in Tradingview. As you can see, I've already typed it in previously, so it pops right up there for me. But you're going to type in Tradingview. You're going to click on it. And you're basically going to go to this one right here where it says https www.tradingview.com, right? Tradingview, track all markets, right? Click, excuse me. You click on that and it's going to bring you to a screen probably like this. I don't think this is the landing page. If I'm not mistaken, there's a different. Anyway, when you come to TradingView, you're going to come to a landing page, and you'll know you're officially on the TradingView. You're on the TradingView web page. Excuse me, web page. All right. So what we want to do is we want to look for under products. So you have these actual browsers or these tabs up here. So you have products, community, markets, brokers, more. This right here, I want this, there we go. This is the actual landing page if you don't have a paid subscription, right, or paid service. So the first thing you want to go is right here under this tab. This is products. You want to go to charts. All right, so I'm going to try to keep this video very, very short. This is a lot of information that I'm going to try to go over and condense and keep pretty concise, if you will. But I really want to walk you through the familiarities, just kind of like show you how to navigate the actual TradingView website. All right, TradingView by far is probably one of the most essential tools you're going to want to use when you're learning how to chart. Charting is pretty. It can be pretty interesting. It can be pretty complex at first. But the very first thing you want to do is you want to come here and you want to go to TradingView, go under Products tab, and you want to go to Charts. Now, when you go into Charts, your chart is going to look something like this, right? The traditional layout is going to look something like this. The default layout is going to look like this. All right. All this is price. These candles are illustrating what price movement, and these bars down here indicate the volume in the market. All right. Right now, we're not going to really go too in detail what this actually means and how it relates to price. But all I really want you to focus on, if you will, if you can, is just focus on making your chart look as easy to read as humanly possible. Like, the more easier it is for you to interpret what's going on in the chart, the better it is in terms of helping you learn and understand it and being more and more familiar with how to read price. Because ultimately, you don't care, we don't care, I don't care about the colors. Ultimately, you're going to learn this as you become a more experienced trader. Very seldom do I really give a lot of credence or give a lot of importance to the colors. At the end of the day, when you become more experienced, you really just care about highs and lows. It's really all you care about. You just care about highs and lows. So for the sake of this video, trying to keep it really simplistic, right? We are going to try to simplify. Again, when you don't have a paid subscription, they're going to show you all these ads and advertisements. Just click the X button to close out. But again, for the sake of this video, we want to keep it really, really simple. And I just want to go through each one of these tabs, each one of these icons, and all these buttons up here so you understand how to navigate TradingView. All right, so when you go to TradingView, you're going to get a traditional default layout that looks like this with the red and green candles. I recommend you go to settings. So you would basically go to this hand wheel right here, this crank, right? And you would just go over here to change the color of your candles. I prefer it black and white. It makes it a lot more easier for me to read. I like my green to be black and I like my red to be white. All right, so for the borders, we want to make those the opposite. So I make these white and I would make this black, right? For the wicks, we want to make those all white. And then for the price line, we want to make that white, and we want to make the actual opacity, right? We want to make that about 30 or 40. It doesn't really matter. You just want to keep it somewhere where it's not too loud, but it's a little faint so that you can still see it, right? So then once you do that, that should take care of that. We come down here to the scale line. None of these options, none of these matter, so don't worry about that. You want to go down to scales. Again, this is all irrelevant. We don't really concern ourselves with this over here. You want to go to appearances and you want to go to where it says gradient. You want to make this black. I know some of you may prefer a white layout, and that's perfectly fine. If you prefer yours white, just change it to white, right? I prefer black because it's easier for things to pop out for me. I found it so much easier just because I'm accustomed to working in the dark. So if you like or prefer yours white, then change it to white or whatever color for that matter. But this is where you would do it at, under background, under gradient. All right, so then you go under here where it says invert grid lines, horizontal grid lines. I like these black to get rid of them, so just eliminate them by making them black. So we'll get rid of them right there. And then we'll make this one black and get rid of it right there. And that's how you eliminate the grid lines, okay? And then once you're done, right, you want to press OK. So now, for me, this is so much easier for me to interpret. This is so much easier for me to read. So my white candles are the red, so indicating prices move down in a downward direction. And my black are, or should I say, my green candles are black, indicating prices moved up in an upward direction. So all I care about is price moving up or down. I don't care about it being green. I don't care about it being red. None of that information is important to you right now as a trader, all right? So just letting you know, the easier, the more simpler you make it to interpret all the data on the chart, the easier it will be for you to grasp and understand. Okay, so this is how I like my chart layout. I'm not saying you have to do this. As a matter of fact, like I showed you, you can literally go to settings up here. You can go to the crank right here where it says settings up here, chart settings, or you can literally just go right here and right click on the actual chart itself and go down to settings right here. It's pretty much the same thing. It's all the same. And anyway, when you go to settings, if you prefer a different layout, if you prefer, like I used to trade back in the day, I used to go with purple and gold with the Laker colors, right? If you prefer something like that, that's entirely fine. That's up to you. It's whatever your preference is. But right here under this tab, under this settings tab, is where you would make those changes. And that's all I really wanted to show you guys. All right, so again, this video today is just going to be more or less a tutorial, just walking you through or navigating TradingView. All right, so when I come to my chart, I always remove the volume because I don't care about that. My trading strategy isn't predicated on volume, so I don't necessarily concern myself with that. But after you do all the changes to your candles, it should look something like this. So over here, this scale right here is price. This is your price scale. That's what this illustrates over here. So nothing too complex, nothing too complicated, but that's what this represents. And down here, this is where you would show your actual days of the week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If it's on a monthly basis, it would have January, February, March, April, May, But this right here is nothing more than just the days of the week. All right, nothing complicated here. Really pretty simple stuff, you guys. So please, I try to make this as simple as possible. So please, let's not try to overcomplicate it. But this is pretty, and this line right here again, this horizontal line that's running across the chart, is price line. All right, so in a live market, you will see this line moving depending on the market movement. You will see this line going up or down, right? Printing either a white candle or a black candle for me, indicating the direction in which price is going. So again, this isn't rocket science. This isn't too difficult. I really want to encourage you to really kind of simplify it, because the more simpler it is for you to grasp, you'll understand as you start building on top of these concepts, the easier it'll be as you start to really live trade. All right, so moving from the left to right, up at the very top of this trading view chart, right, you have right here the actual home tab. And under this tab, this is where your profile would be listed if you had like if you were signed in or if you had a subscription, right? This right here would be where your actual profile tab would show up, and all your account information would show up under this hamburger tab right here. Right next to that, right over here to the right of it, is going to be the actual symbol type, right? It's going to be the asset or the instrument that you're wishing to trade. And as you can see, you could trade stocks. These are the categories listed here, right? You could trade stocks, you could trade futures, you could trade Forex, right? You could trade. So let me stop and say you can trade, all right? Unless you link, and this is going to be described, or this is going to be explained into a later video. What I mean is you can chart. You can chart these instruments. You can chart these assets. So you can chart. So because unless your broker is directly linked to Tradingview, and that's going to be explained in a later video, but unless you have a broker that's directly linked to Tradingview, you're not going to necessarily probably trade the asset on Tradingview. All right. Remember, Tradingview is simply a charting software that we use to perform our analysis and basically set up our strategy, and then we actually go to the broker who facilitates the trade, which is nothing more than a third-party entity that facilitates the trade and places the trade for us for a small fee or commission. All right. So for right now, when I say you can trade, just understand I'm simply saying these are assets that you can chart, and if you were interested in trading them, right, you would have to open up a broker and do your analysis on Tradingview and actually place the trade through your broker. All right. So that's what these right here represent right here. These are brokers. All right. This right here was listing all this information, Owanda, FXCM, right? These are all different brokers that you could use, right? Open up accounts with Forex.com. These are all brokers. That's what are listed right here, right? So for now, just understand that when I say you can trade, I really am figuratively saying you can chart your do your analysis on Tradingview, but if you really wanted to execute the trade, you would absolutely need a broker in order to do so. All right, so for now, we just want to look at these categories right here that we have listed here, and you have crypto, right? Excuse me. We have indices. So if you were interested in analyzing or studying NAS 100, you have it. If you were interested in studying the S&P 500, you have it. If you were interested in studying the US 30, you have it. And again, depending on the broker you're interested in trading it with, you would find the affiliated broker right here under the search bar, if you will, for the asset or instrument that you're interested in trading. As you can see right here, here's another one of my little favorites right here, the German 30, right? I usually trade it with Owanda. Not trade it, but I usually select the one listed with Owanda, and then I'll chart it under such. All right, so again, but these are just showing you the different categories of the assets that you can actually analyze and trade on a broker. All right, so that's what this right here is. All right, so often known as the symbol, or also known as the tickler that will be listed here. If you were choosing stocks, say for instance we were, I don't know, say AMD, and we wanted to trade the AMD. So for me, I like to trade with a regulated broker, or I like to find one with a regulated broker. So we'll go right here. It says this is a stock listed with the NASDAQ. And so as you can see right now, the AMD, which is the Advanced Micro Device Incorporation, right? This stock is currently listed for $100.83. That's currently on the NASDAQ. And so, again, not nothing too complicated, but that's what's going to be listed here. The symbol, the ticker, the instrument, or the asset type, all right? So next to that, you could compare symbols. So if you wanted to compare you wanted to compare this asset to another, you could do so, right? You just type in whatever, I don't know, say you wanted to compare it to this, right? So then it would show you, it would illustrate how this price right here, which is the AMD, and how this price right here, which is the S&P, how it's performing in correlation to each other. So as you can see right now, AMD is actually under the S&P's price. So you can see that's kind of how it's performing in relation, if you wanted to compare it. All right, so I'm not interested in that right now, but that's just a feature if anyone was interested in trying to compare different assets against one another. So because we want to undo that, we're simply going to go over here where we see this back arrow, and we're going to just press back, and it's going to undo that. Okay. So then we want to go back and press auto, so our actual chart comes back illustrated the way we want it to look. And moving right back along up top, you have the day chart, right? So this right here is just interval of time. This is what this indicate. So say for instance, I like to look at the day, the 4 hour, I look at the 1 hour, I look at the 15-minute, and I look at the 5-minute, and I look at the 3-minute and 1 minute. So when you mark these, in the week and the month. So when you mark these, what happens is they all start to stay up here because now they're quick, ready reference, or quick, ready, and accessible for your selection. Basically, they're listed up here so that you can easily access them whenever you're ready to reference them later on. So it's pretty much just when making them a favorite, adding a star, it basically places them up here for ready references for later on. And so for me, the very first thing I like to do is I like to look at my monthly chart, right? And I do what's called top-down analysis. So these ads are going to continue to pop up, right? I don't want to join. Leave that page. All right, so for the sake of the video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log into my account. I think it's going to make it a lot more easier. All right, but just getting started, I wanted to kind of like walk you guys through the process of getting started. But I don't want to wrestle with these ads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into my account. Well, I don't want to do it that way. Bear with me for a second, guys. All right. Yeah, I just don't want to wrestle with those ads. And it's not signing me in for some reason. I'm afraid if I do it like this, it's going to reset. Let's ignore this for a second. Bear with me, I apologize. Log me out. All right, so here we go. Sorry about that. So I had to log in, and I kind of just wanted to log in off camera, but yeah. All right, so I logged in, and here's TradingView with me logged into my profile under my account. So again, nothing really different about what we've seen previously. You would literally go over here under products, go to charts. All right, when you log in, this right here, this profile icon right here will pop up. That's what this indicates. And so just going along the top as we were doing earlier. All right, so when you log in, you're gonna come to the traditional default layout of your chart looking like this. That's how it's gonna look with the red and green traditional candles with the grid in the background. So again, just moving right along from left to right at the top. These right here are the intervals of time. These are my favorite that I like to reference, and so that's the reason why they're listed up here. This right here is just the style in which you like to view your candles. This is the traditional candle method, which they call the Japanese candlesticks. This is what most people use to view and analyze price action. So this is what you'll probably typically see when you look at an actual candlestick chart. But you can change it. You can change it to the Hakanashi candles. Hakanashi candles tend to actually kind of like smooth price out a little more, as you can see. It just smooths price out. It just looks smoother, and it's easy to kind of interpret price a lot more easier. And so that's what these right here, these Hakanashi candles, are currently illustrating. All right, so you have the Hakanashi candles. That used to be one of my favorites, so that's why it's listed up here. All your favorites will be listed up here. Anything you mark as favorite. All right, so just as an easy reference for later. All right, so then you have the traditional Japanese candlesticks. That's what these look like. And then this is what you'll probably see on, I don't know, MSNBC or Bloomberg or any one of your finance channels. And this simply is the actual bar or line graph, the line chart. And so that's what this illustrates. This is just the price, and it's basically showing you the movement of price illustrated on a line, right? Whereas this right here is showing us the movement of price illustrated with colors and candles, right? With these bars. And so, again, just trying to understand, I'm hoping that I'm speaking to someone who's trying to learn how to become more familiarized and navigate TradingView for the first time. Again, I'm hoping that you get to a place where you simplify your charts, right? Because a lot of this is a lot of information to be trying to interpret in a live market. And so one of the first things I do whenever I'm trying to, whenever I approach my chart is I change my chart's candle colors. And so you would just go over under settings right here, just crank this hand wheel. You would literally just go over there as I showed you earlier, and you would just change the colors. Right, and again, you can go back on this video. That's the beauty of YouTube, right? You can go back and you can rewind this video, and you can see, slow it down and see what I'm doing if you really, really, really want to know how to do this. I'm sorry for the clicking of the mouse. I realize that can kind of be annoying. But yeah, this is typically how I like to look at and view my chart from the moment I sit down to analyze my charts. And so, but again, just going over this information right here, this is where you would be able to change the different candles. So for instance, if you wanted hollow candles, you could do it on hollow candles. If you wanted columns, you can do columns instead of columns. Like whatever is your preference, and then whatever helps you better interpret how price is moving. So that's kind of how you got to look at it. Whatever helps you better interpret how price is moving and how to analyze price. I prefer, again, the Japanese candlesticks, black and white, black being up and white being down. So moving more and more to the right, you have your indicators, right? Here you'll find your indicators. Again, I don't want to go too in depth with this. This is definitely going to be, this is definitely going to be for a later video. But right here, say for instance, I don't know, let's say you wanted to use the VWAP. What indicators do is they help us better gauge, read, interpret, and understand how price is moving. Right? They're supposed to offer us an indication of how price is moving. But what you have to understand is indicators they lag. So I don't necessarily agree with relying too heavily on indicators. As you can see, I have all these marked as my favorite. Truth being told, when I very first started trading Forex, I too started with a whole bunch of indicators on my chart. And so when you start to become a lot more experienced, what you're going to become following me, following my channel and my content and information, I'm going to help you basically go from 0 to 100. And I hope in the process you become profitable. But you will have a fundamental knowledge, a fundamental understanding on what a price chart is, how to read a price chart, and how to understand it, and be able to, I guess, navigate TradingView. That is my hope, that is my interest, that is my desire, and I believe that's my mission. So again, these right here, these indicators are indicators that I've had, that I've used in the past. You have the RSI, which is your relative strength index, right? You have your stochastics, your STC, right? I have my moving average, order block signal with signals, inside bar. These are all my favorites, right? A lot of them I kind of use like intermittently. I may toggle between them just to get a gauge or get an idea what it's saying as it relates to price. But I try to trade these days based on price action and price action alone, to be honest. I try not to rely too heavily on indicators. But when I first started trading, indicators was all I knew. It was all I ever tried. It was like it was all I could understand. So all these indicators are all indicators that I've either tried or I've played with, right? So this indicator right here is called your Bollinger Band indicator. The way it's supposed to work in theory is whenever price breaks above this band, right, like a rubber band, it's supposed to repel. It's supposed to basically bounce back off of it. And as you can see, it sometimes works that way, but relying on it by itself can get you in trouble. So as you can see in this instance, it looked like price was basically, it came up to the top of the band. So this right here is the top of your band. This down here is the bottom of the band. It came up to the top of and this right here in the middle is basically your medium, the middle, right? So it came up to the top. It closed once outside of it, but you can see it kind of came back within. And some would find that would use this as an indicator to start selling. But for me, I say don't rely too much on any one indicator by itself, because indicators, again, they lag and sometimes they can contradict each other and just make trading just confusing. But I did want to show you what this tab was and what it does. And so that's what that is. That's the indicators tab. So as you start trading, obviously you're going to play with the indicators. Obviously you're going to use indicators to better understand price and help you get a familiarity understanding on it. But again, as you become more experienced, my goal, my hope is that you won't trade with so many indicators. Maybe 1, 2, or 3, but definitely I would say 3 would be the most. Price action is really what I would encourage any aspiring trader or anyone interested in trading. I would really encourage anyone to take an interest in learning price action first. Price action, or learning price action, period. Price action is pretty much the way candles move, the way they print. Understanding or really learning how that works will really give you an edge and give you an advantage in the market and trading. So I would definitely say, if you can, take an interest, invest in learning price action. All right, so enough about that. This right here is the indicators template, where you can come later after you basically put the indicators on your chart, and you can save them and create a template to make them accessible for later charts, right? So if you wanted to make 3 and 4 charts, you could just come up here to this template and find the indicators that you've saved, and it'll apply them to your chart like such. All right. So you see right here that template was the EMA, and volume indicator. And it placed the volume down here. I don't know if you can really see it, it's really faint. And then it placed this exponential moving average right here. All right, so that's what that is. So moving to the right of that, you have right here the other indicator tab. This is for these down here. So that's for this RSI, and that's for basically these moving averages. So it's another indicator template, if you will. All right, so we'll remove that. This right here is your alerts tab. This alert tab is very, very priceless. I can't tell you how valuable, how invaluable rather, this right here, this is going to save you so much time, because at first when you're learning about trading and you're learning how to read the charts, you're going to spend an inordinate amount of time on these charts. You're going to spend so much time looking at charts. At least I hope you do. If you're really trying to learn how to trade and be a profitable trader. But yeah, because of that, later on, you don't want to spend so much time in front of the charts. And so that alert feature is going to enable you to basically be able to receive notifications to your phone, desktop, or laptop, and be able to just, whenever the alert notification goes off, grab your phone and then look at where you are in relation to price in the market. And so that's what that is. Whenever you want to set an alert, you can actually set an alert, and then it'll save it right under the alert tab, and you'll be able to reference it later. So if you wanted to save an alert right here, I would go right here, add an alert. Now that alert is right there, and I would go right here if I wanted to create one, manually create one, and you can create an alert. So I can place an alert, as you can see right here. I can place an alert right here on the chart itself if I wanted to remove this alert. So basically what this alert means is, if price drops and came all the way back down to this price level, which is $80, right, or a little below $80, it would send a notification to my account if price came down to this level, letting me know price has now reached this level. All right, so we're going to delete that. And that goes for that. All right, so next to that is this replay bar. All right, this is a another very valuable feature. All right, and what this does, it allows you to basically choose any random point in the chart and go back and back test it. Right, so what it will do is you can select a point in the market and go back and simply play it forward to give you an idea how your strategy or your thesis or your analysis would have played out. And so that's what that, you can speed it up, you can slow it down, right? Whatever you prefer, right? But this is very, very helpful, because when you're in the live market, the market does tend to move a little fast. And what I mean is, it really isn't moving fast. It's just there's so much that you have to digest. And so it can feel fast, right? It feels so much like you have to analyze, you have to take in consideration, right? And so this replay feature is so helpful in helping you backtest your strategy or your analysis and just watching it play out and seeing what you would do. Like just walking through the thought process. What would you do if this candle right now printed up? What would you do? Is your analysis saying that you're buying? Where would you get in at? Would you get in at the close of this candle? And so that's what this replay feature enables you to do. So it's a very, very valuable feature. I love this replay feature. I've taken full advantage of it. And I think this is a feature that's only offered to those with paid subscription or, paid memberships. So if you could afford it, I would definitely encourage you to fork out a couple extra dollars and definitely invest in it, because it's a feature that you're going to want to use later on as you start to really, really become more of an experienced trader. All right, so that goes for that. And then this panel right here, this horizontal panel right here, this panel right here is nothing more than these tools that are right here under these categories or items or icons right here, just right here, easily accessible for me. So whenever I'm like in full screen like this, instead of me going back and then having to access this panel or this pane right here, I can literally just keep it my favorites that I use often, right? I can just come up here and I don't have to back out of here and go over there. But I want you to really take note to how pretty, I shouldn't say pretty, how simple this looks. This is so much simpler. When you learn to see the chart like this, oh my God. I don't know. It just seems so much easier for me to interpret. It's so much easier for me to understand. It's so much, like I said, all you care about is high, this being my high. All you care about is, and this being my low, right? All you care about at this point is highs and lows. We don't really care about bulls and bears, right? Bullish being green and bearish being red, right? When you hear that lingo, or when you ever hear that type of jargon as it relates to trading, right? That can be kind of confusing to interpret and understand. Like, the market is bullish today. Well, simply what someone is really saying is the market went up today, right? Or the market is bearish today. Simply what they're saying is the market went down, right? And again, those terminologies, that jargon, it has a historical connotation or reference to it. One that's pretty interesting in figuring out and learning about it. But that's just the way that they describe the movement in the market. But again, when you learn to see the market the way that I'm illustrating it to you right now, I'm sure one would agree, most probably would agree, that this is pretty simple to understand. Like, this isn't really rocket science, right? And that's simply because I have my green candles illustrated as black candles. You can see them outlined right here with the white outline. And my red candles outlined or illustrated, depicted as these white candles, right? The one's going down, right? So, yeah, so that's that. But yeah, this right here is my panel where my tools are readily accessible for me to put on my chart, as you just saw me illustrate a moment ago. Like, maybe I wanted to see price right here at this horizontal line. Maybe if price breaks this line, so for instance, if price breaks, which we're not anticipating anytime soon, but say if price was to break this line right here, I would take an interest and start shorting, right? Or start selling, or start looking for opportunities to go down. And so that's what this enables me to do. It enables me to see this level right here as a price level and just wait for price to return, if it's going to return, right? This is AMD, this is a stock, so I don't know, quite frankly, I haven't been following the fundamentals on this stock, but I don't think AMD is headed south anytime soon. So, but if it did, I would be looking for it to break this level before I even remotely took an interest and started to shorting it, or started selling it rather. So, and then the same thing goes for this right here up top. So right here up top is where we would have our resistances, they say. And to be perfectly honest with you, for the sake of this video, I want to try to illustrate these the best way possible. So to illustrate these, most would consider this level down here to be support, and most would consider this level up here to be resistance, right? And that's how you have to look at this when you're trading. So if price gets into this level right here, chances are we're going to expect price to do what's called a U-turn. And if it doesn't do a U-turn, then chances are we're going to expect price to give us some type of degree of reaction. Because as you can see, price came up into this price level, this price zone, and it came back down very, very hard from that price zone. But then you can also see where price came down here to this price level, this price zone, which is your support zone, right? And you can see where it basically bounced back up. And so many people may reference this as many things. Like there's I'm gonna be honest with you, there's so many ways you can view this. Some would say this is a supply zone, right? Some would argue this is a demand zone, demand level. However you interpret it, however you see it, the fact remains the same. And that is when price hits either this zone, this price region or area, or this price region, zone, or area, it tends to react in a way that if you're an avid trader or if you're an experienced trader, you can take advantage and make some money. That's the fact of the matter, right? So it tends to react to these two levels in a way where if you're experienced enough and you have the know-withal, you have the know-how, when it comes to either one of these two levels, you're prepared to look for an opportunity to make some money. And it's really that simple. All right, so enough about that. I don't really want to go off on a tangent about the actual technicalities in trading and the specifics to my strategy, but I did want to basically help explain how to read or navigate Tradingview. And that's what we're doing right here. So again, that's what this panel right here is. It's simply all these tools, not all, but it's my favorite of the tools that are listed over here that I frequently use. And they're basically just listed on this horizontal panel. All right, so that's what these are. You can familiarize yourself with these different tools over here. Up here, you have your indicators, and over here, you have your tools. All right, indicators are what you use to kind of like gauge price, see price, how it moves in relation to these indicators, right? And then over here, these tools are what you use to kind of like zero in on things, so to speak, right? Help you zero in, identify the trends, and you know, just a lot more than just the indicators. All right, so tools to the left, indicators up top. All right, so we covered all this, we covered all this. This right here is the back panel, or the back button rather. That's what you do, press when you want to go undo something, right? This is if you wanted to split charts, right? So you would go over here. This right here is the same chart. This is the same chart, you guys. This is the same chart. It's just split screen. You have this one on the day, and this one right here is on the month. All right. So I don't want to see that right now, but that's what that is. That's a very, very useful feature too. We can discuss that in a later video. But for right now, we just want to illustrate our chart on a one panel or one pane. So that's what that right there, this square right here, select layout, that's what that is. This right here is where you can actually title your asset or instrument. You can actually name it, rename it. So right here, this is where you would come to load it, create a new one. All right, or right here it shows you also the recently used ones of mine. All right, so you can make a copy, you can export it to your desktop, or you can do whatever you want, right? But that's what's listed right here under layout. So right here is the search button. That's kind of self-explanatory. I don't know if I really need to go over that. To search any functions or any features or tools. All right. Then right here, this is where we were earlier in order to identify or make changes to our chart. So that's the settings button or wheel. Then right here, this is how you maximize or go into full screen. And then right here, this is where we would take a picture or snapshot of our chart if you wanted to send it to someone, email it, or screen share it, or whatever you choose to do. And then right here is where you would publish it if you wanted to make your chart, if you wanted to make your chart analysis public. All right, so that's pretty much everything up top. I think I covered every single item up here. It's not a lot of, like I said, it's not a lot of complicated stuff up here. I know at first look, at first glance, it can feel complicated, but again, that's all this is. Then over here, this right here is your favorite symbols or assets or instruments. I like to call them instruments or assets. As you can see right here, they're referred to as symbols. All right. Again, this is just all terminology you'll learn just as you continue to trade and practice. But these are all the actual Forex currencies that I trade. These are the Forex pairs that I tend to focus on. And the thing is my strategy, I traded on everything. My strategy, my analysis, I traded on everything. And it performs on everything alike. And that's what you want in a strategy, if I'm being honest. You want a strategy that can be consistent, and you can be consistent with practicing it. So nothing too complicated, nothing too complex. But yeah, something that I can practice on any instrument or asset, and it's going to perform the same way. Like I'm looking for the same setup, the same play out on any of them. So again, don't get too bogged down with all this over here, because the truth is none of this is relative to any of this right now. None of this is going to be relative to how you trade. This is just information that you can refer to and see later on. But all these icons, all these buttons, none of listen, if you're just getting started, don't concern yourself with any of this right now. Don't even concern yourself with anything down here right now. Right? So I'm not even showing it to you right now. All you really need to concern yourself with, if you're just getting started, is you're trying to figure out how to simplify your chart. Hopefully, you're trying to figure out how to make your candles a color that means something um, significant to you, to help you better, I guess, interpret the way price is moving. For me, black and white just seems so much easier. It's kind of how I see the market personally. I don't, like I said, I don't see red and green. I literally just see the market in black and white. That's kind of how I look at the market, because all I care about is highs and lows. That's all I care about. All right, so again, these buttons up here, these are your actual buttons to actually buy and sell. So red would be sell or short, and blue would be buy or long. So anytime someone is saying you're going long, they mean, or they wish to go long, that mean they're going to buy, or they wish to short, that means they're going to sell. So that's what these two buttons right here that's what these two buttons right here represent. These two buttons. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment of brain fart. But yeah, really, that's pretty much Tradingview. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to comment. Please feel free to ask me. But that's what I'm here. I'm really here to service you guys. I'm really here to make this trading journey for anyone who's elected to choose this type of thing. I'm really here to just make it a lot more simpler for you, because I feel like I made all my mistakes, and I made all my mistakes with no one really doing what I'm doing right now, which is really just breaking it down and being someone to help better explain things when I basically had a lot of questions early on. I had to kind of learn a lot of things through trial and error. So I made this channel to keep the beginning trader in mind, if I'm being honest. I made this channel to keep the beginning trader in mind. And so if you found value in this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please, it would mean a lot to me. It would mean a lot to my channel. Again, thank you for your support, and I'm out.